Very warm welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me from all across the world. This is going to be an incredibly fast update. So much has happened since the last time. And as you know, everything in AI changes almost every 2 weeks. Thank you once again for spending the next hour and a half with me. Just as usual, we're going to spend the first 60 minutes or so, just deep diving into some of these fantastic updates that are there. And then we will open the floor to Q&A. Please use the Q&A button at any time to ask a question. I will try to pause between 5 to 10 minutes to get at them. Otherwise, we will cover everything that we need to in the Q&A time. And feel free to ask me anything from the updates, general AI, anything else can help and deep dive into. Of course, to remember, the more information you put in the question, the easier it is for me to come up with an answer that is more specific and more personalized. So let's deep dive in. I think the major two updates this time has been in terms of uh, the two cases that went to court on copyright, and we had two interesting judgments. The first, of course, is Meta versus Kadri and all, and this was around 13 authors, and of course, lots of other supporting people joined, but essentially 13 authors who had come in and said, look, by Facebook Meta taking their books and training the LLMs on it, they had been damaged and therefore they deserved compensation, damages, and such. And so this has been one of the groundbreaking cases where the judge rules that it is under fair use. And the critical aspect here is the word transformative, which basically said, look, they took this book, and but the output that came out from the base of the book is actually transformed. And in at least US copyright basis, if you have a transformative impact on a work, i.e., you're not just duplicating it there, it comes under fair use. But obviously, Meta's use of some of the pirated database and shadow libraries could still lead to some liability. So not a clear win for Meta, but certainly setting a bar for authors everywhere who were really upset that their books had been used without their permission. I think, as we all know, all of these cases are going to get amalgamated and head to the Supreme Court by the end of the year, probably. And hopefully we will have a clearer stance. The second court case, of course, is various authors versus Anthropic. And of course, Anthropic did a very interesting thing. They bought a huge number of used books from across the world, and they cut the binders and scanned them all and used that to train their models. Now, for those of you who've been tracking this for a decade or two, this is exactly what the Google Books project did. In fact, Anthropic hired away one of the key team members from that, their head of partnership, to get this done. But before doing it, they'd actually done a bunch of online piracy as well. And so these two are sort of the cases that are really setting some of the boundaries for where training data is. Once again, this is the US only. It remains to be seen how Europe and other countries treat these cases. And so bit by bit, I think by the end of the year, we are going to see the ambiguity surrounding some of the issues on training data, copyright, production come out. One of the interesting things that happened last year, of course, is all the licensing agreements that these companies had struck. So between them, it's going to be quite an interesting 6 months or 7 months in copyright. But I think, at least for the large language companies, summary judgments like these really help make their case that at least their training data is safe. We'll see what happens on the outputs and everything else downstream. 2, 3 other major copyright cases still pending, and let's see what happens on those. This happened, I think, 24 hours. This is OpenAI Deep Research. For those of you who've used it, is one of the fantastic features. Claude has it, of course. Gemini 2.5 Pro's Deep Research is one of the high bar deep research systems. But one of the big issues that all of us were facing is that it's nice to be able to deep research across different search engines. But what we really want to see is, can we deep research across our data? And I think this now in the API is out, and you can connect multiple sources into this through MCPs, specific websites, of course, general search. And this goes through all of them, deep dives, and give a synthesis and report. The key takeaway, of course, for this is the ability to now not just connect the APIs, and in this case, OpenAI O3, to a wide variety of sources, but use their deep research and synthesis method. Earlier, you would have to outsource it to another search engine, then bring the summaries, and then get the AI to operate on them. And now you're using the deep research thinking of O3. So fantastic. Haven't had a chance to try it yet on the APIs, but hopefully in the next update, we'll run a few for you and see what it looks like. But please try it out. It is a bit expensive though, and so I would really look at the pricing per run. Anecdotally, what I've seen online based on the chat on X, I would say something like $2 to $3 per run for a really, really proper in-depth search at the moment. This is a minor update, but I thought I'd tack it on into talking about OpenAI. The webhooks is something we have all been waiting for. A little bit minor for those of you who aren't using the API in systems, but essentially what would happen is you would send something to AI, then you come in waiting. And that wait, once it exceeds 50 seconds, 1 minute, a lot of the no-code tools would just give up and say, you know what, this is too much of a wait. And the alternative was you send it to it, and then you have another system keep asking, which is polling, hey, are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you done yet? This is a big ask from everybody that, hey, can't you just tell us you're done? And this is essentially what they've launched. Hopefully everybody else will. It is one of the most asked features, quite frankly, to allow us to use this for all of our systems, whether it is Zapier or whether it is N8N, any other orchestration tool. So this is nice to see. For those of you who are using the APIs, please have a look. It is taking longer for the APIs to respond. Sometimes the thinking in O3, O4 can go up to 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. And this is nice that they call us once they're done rather than anything else. Obviously, for deep research, this really matters. The major drop, of course, has been Midjourney video, which rocketed up straight up to number 5. Midjourney, of course, is on its own interesting path, very separate from all the other AI companies. And their journey and path is very interesting. I think what really they think about, what motivates them, how they think about things is very different. I highly recommend do a deep dive on the team if you have a chance. But really seeing them pop out on as number 5 as their first video model is great. And if you can see, almost all the others are principally Chinese model, with the exception of the very heavy VO3. Please try it out. I think it's really, really nice at taking standard static images and really doing amazing things with it. And the hope is as they gain more and more fluency with this, we should see of a spectacular version 2. But the fact that they're already hitting this right off the first bat, beating Runway, beating the old MiniMax, is pretty unbelievable. So please have a look. I always like to see Midjourney, particularly in high quality photos. They're still number 1. And so let's see how that now translates to the next step. I do want to talk about 2 seconds about exponential AI. And this is, of course, a snapshot from Karim Lakhani over at the Harvard Business School. Great professor, one of the few people who I think who really, really understands AI in this world. If you haven't read his book, I recommend it. Please go find it. And I sort of had a chance to sneak peek at some of his work, which he's doing right now. And this was his sort of explanation of exponential AI, which fit a lot into the way I was seeing the world. And it was really nice to see it in this diagram. And for him, this is this wonderful arc on this side, which is, a performance improvement and time. I'll take 2 seconds to explain this. I thought it was some very interesting insights. And we'll come back to this maybe in the next update. And I have a few interesting thoughts around how can we look at executive and CEO performance sustainability based on this curve. But this is sort of a very nice company, right? Over time, constant improvement in performance, right? This is performance improvement over time. So this is what a great company looks today. As time goes by, constant performance improvements happen. Ideal company for today. This is what AI looks like, right? This is the exponential part, wherein it's not just performance improvement over time, but the rate of performance improving over time. And you see this interesting delta between these two, where you see as companies who have achieved this this great performance improvement over time, they're not just sort of going on a linear basis, right? A linear basis would look like this, right? Performance and time. But in this case, because it's exponential and this graph is definitely an exponential thing, this something looks like a rocket ship that goes up like this. And I think that just tells you beyond anything else, not just about, hey, that if you adopt AI, you are now getting the 7 to 10x huge boost in productivity that we are seeing at the Vjal Institute, particularly with our wonderful new coaching programs. But really to see that this is a sustainable advantage and that the gap between companies who are doing this and not is starting to loom so large that it's almost impossible to catch up if you're not on this curve. There's a lot of other side points on this. Just because you're on the curve doesn't mean everybody else in your company is, and how do you get them up and play catch up? Sustaining this level of change can also be hard. One of the things which I really encourage you to think about is therefore not just your individual productivity and that of your teams and companies and organizations, but really how do you create this beautiful curve that is truly exponential? And once you're on that curve, how do you maintain your ability to either continue up it or even just sustain it? I mean, if you are here, this is a great place to be. And I just worry about people not being at all on this curve. And then the differential in your industry, in your company, of what happens between this. Look out at this space. I think amazing people like Kareem are going to do a lot of great work on this. And I think the secondary and tertiary impacts of this will start becoming a lot clearer in the months ahead. I thought this was amazing. So Firecrawl has been a company of focus for us for the past month or two. They're doing some great work in terms of web search and scraping, fully open source. And I just want you to have a look at their new system, which I would say is, deep research for open source. And what I really like about this, of course, is going to various sources, just as you see deep research in Google or you see in OpenAI, and it's able to pull from multiple sources and build this in. For those of you who attended the last update, we talked a little about Firecrawl's amazing built for AI native web scraping and search. So please have a look at this. This is really amazing. One of the things that I get from people in the classes always is, Adi, I love the deep search in Google. I love the deep search in Grok. I love the deep search in OpenAI. How do I start connecting this to proprietary data? Data which I've paid for, data which is in my company. Obviously, we just saw what OpenAI did. This is a great open source alternative, and I fully expect Google and everyone else to quickly follow suit. Of course, please look at their traditional search as well, along with scraping. And their promise is, of course, powering your AI apps with clean data scrawled from any website, also being open source, right? And you can, then tinker with at the back end. And this is one of the big challenges all of us face, right? We love AI, we love the internet, but getting good quality scraped data from the internet, combining with AI and then pushing out apps is absolutely fundamental. We're seeing a lot more of these companies come up. This is a genuine problem to solve. And I think now having AI native, Firecrawl is one of the AI native companies. So they're rethinking the entire system of search, crawling, scraping from an LLM perspective. There are a lot of companies out there that do this. So please check them out, particularly if you're going into something that is absolutely critical and needs to be production ready day one. This was interesting. So agent to agent is by Google. And there was a little bit of debate about a month and a half ago, a little bit of drama of agent to agent, and of course, MCPs both coming out at the same time. Now, of course, MCPs, which we went deep dive last time, was principally the front end interface for which you would have any of your software systems interact with LLMs. Game changer, and we're going to see a couple of MCP updates in this one as well. Agent to agent is primarily when the two agents are trying to talk to each other. Now, Google launched this with a very nice ecosystem in a large way, lots of partners. And it's really nice that they have now pushed the agent to agent fully open source and into the Linux Foundation. where they'll now be housed. And I think both Anthropic pushing MCP to be open sourced and an open protocol, and of course, Google's doing agent to agent as well, bodes really well for standardization. One of the big fears all of us had was with so many LLM companies, so many big launches, each company will sort of build out their own ecosystem. And then once again, all of us are left, okay, are you stuck here? Are you stuck there? Versus being able to use all the tools available to us in the toolkit. And nice to say agent to agent also open sourced and out there. And I hope more companies follow this suite, particularly on their standards. MiniMax, massive 5 drops, a week of MiniMax. And one, of course, big one is they've open sourced their great model. And this has some beautiful, beautiful thing. Top line performance, 1 million context, absolutely brilliant, brilliant outputs. This is something that is, of course, empowering AI all across the world. For those of you who went through my investment frameworks for AI, one of the big things I talk about is how really open source models drive the ecosystem. The training cost for this was under $1 million, which also means this allows beautiful things like sovereign AI, which means an AI for every country, as well as a whole bunch of really edge experimentation all across the world. It also sells a lot more NVIDIA chips, and which is why you're seeing in the NVIDIA stock at the time of this update at an all-time high. But having this as an open source model really pushes the entire industry ahead. They also launched an absolute amazing Helio 2 video. I want to show you an update on that. A great audio module. They launched a video editing system and agent, and of course, a full normal agent, which does coding, which does planning, which does tasks. Please check out the MiniMax ecosystem. They are one of the leading open source plus. They are in China, and so that is an alternative to the standard Western Google, OpenAI, Anthropic ecosystem that exists, and they're doing really well. Google continues, and this is their new Vision plus Action robots, which, again, one of the big things we had in our major robot update a couple of months ago was this notion of, hey, how does context change the way standard robot training works? And we're now seeing the vision models really push into AI and really dramatically change robotics. You're going to see a lot more updates on these, and not just in models that are able to train robots, but really the robots, because of the LLM transformers, being able to understand full context. Now, this was something missing from robots. You could train them, do this, but do you understand the context of why you're doing it and what's around? And the combining of these two are absolutely fantastic. The robot revolution has just really kicked off, and you're going to see massive updates throughout the year. And certainly next year, I think you're going to see some very consumer-oriented use cases, which you can use in your own home. 11 Labs launched the 11.AI assistant. This is something we were all expecting. 11 Labs, one of the leaders in voice, both in terms of cloning and in terms of new. I think they did a great job.
Hey, 11.
Good morning, Jay.
When's my first meeting?
It's in 5 minutes.
Who's it with?
It's with your boss, Jay, for your 2025 annual evaluation performance review.
Oh, great.
Email them and tell them I'll be 5 minutes late.
Email delivered.
Oh, send a heart emoji to whatever my mum sent me last night.
Heart emoji delivered.
Oh yeah. Can you order the usual for breakfast, please?
The vegan big boy from Tony's.
Oh yeah. I could do with that today.
Anything else I can help with, Jay?
Actually, yeah. Pull up my boss's socials.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Didn't he get a Bengal cat or something?
On the 29th, your boss...
Try it out. It's free to try at the moment. Obviously, I think the ad does a great job showcasing what it can do. Love to get your feedback to see whether you liked it. For those of you who love pushing these around and seeing what the edge is. Uh, Finally, I think many of us have been really wondering, when do we get those voice assistants that are really, really connected to everything? We're seeing great launches all across the board. I think by the end of the year, hopefully our phones, Apple pending, will start getting a lot of these in. There's still a few milestones to reach in terms of connecting the ecosystem together. But what's really nice about it is that we're getting this fluency of voice and communications that is truly spectacular. Watch this space. Hopefully, in about 2 to 3 months, when we touch back, we'll be able to see things that are not just seamless in terms of the voice, but also can connect to the entire architecture. MCPs, for example, is one of those big leaps that is allowing us to do many of these things. This was very nice. I'm always happy when I see a big update on the healthcare side that is public. A lot of the updates that I get on the healthcare side under NDAs, very private. As you can imagine, there's a huge amount of regulatory hurdle. There's a huge amount of worry that they're not going to get approved, and so they don't like to go public so fast. But this is another very beautiful one, and of course, Alpha Genome. And what's very nice is, of course, accessible via API for non-commercial research, and really, really pushing what we understand about genes. For those of you who've been tracking AI and genomes, and of course, we had the 23andMe Senate trials and all of those, but pretty much understanding what these DNA bits do and how they interact is still very much something that is not ideal, let's say. And I think being able to really understand how all of this stuff interacts, how it interacts with us as humans and bodies, is one of the big, big parts about AI. And getting this open source and getting everybody access is being a big lump. So for those of you who are really in healthcare, please have a look, get access. And this is very, very nice that we are seeing a lot more science, a lot more leaps in human understanding of ourselves being made possible with AI. Gemini took up the CLI, and this is very nice. For those of you who have been using the Anthropic one from Claude, where you're able to just get it to take over your computer terminal and then run everything. Some of you love this, some of you hate this. Obviously, if you're doing anything in code, if you're doing anything on your local computer, having the AI models being able to run everything in the terminal makes a lot of sense. Despite being a big IDE fan, I've been using Cloud Code, for example, inside my terminal more and more. And I've never been one of those people who really likes to code in terminal, but it's being able to quickly access your files, being able to edit them, move them around, make the changes, run, test, all of that in a single space does really, really help. So please check it out. Also check out Claude's version of this. I think that's absolutely spectacular. Gemini is offering a very, very, very generous free plan right now with thousands and thousands of requests and huge number of tokens. So I don't know how long it'll last, but while it does, this is a great way to at least get some experience with the CLI systems in and or just have some fun using the top end Gemini models for almost, actually, it's pretty much free. So yeah, free. ChatGPT had an early month business update. I thought I'd just cover this. Lots of new features, the connectors, which is the MCPs. We'll talk about it. Although it's excluding, I think yesterday Plus and Pro have now started rolling out. So hopefully you should see that in the next couple of days. ChatGPT record mode for Teams. I tried the record mode. It's okay. It's not going to let me drop any of my current massive recorders. The process time is a little bit hard. MCP in beta, codecs expanded to everybody, lightweight memory improvements. Have a look. I do not recommend using memories at all. And every time I do any advisory consulting, first thing I said, guys, turn off the memories. People love the memories. Hey, ChatGPT remembers all these things about me, but it's like a toddler. It selectively remembers. So please click on settings, click on manage memories, see what it thinks about you. And if you don't like it, turn it off. I always recommend turning it off and using something like projects instead. And of course, advanced voice update. This is very nice. And this is something for all paid ChatGPT users. The other big update, which I have to talk about for a second, is the ability in the custom GPTs to choose the model. Now, for me, this was huge. One of the big things that we advise each and every business to use who have a Teams plan is to share the GPTs. And being stuck in 4.0 was a huge downside. So please try these new updates out. I think they really, really make the Teams plan a lot more attractive to many businesses. You also have Google Workspaces, by the way, which include Gemini for free. And so if you already are on Google Workspaces and you haven't checked out all the new features that you're getting for free with Gemini updates 2.5 Pro in particular, please have a look. They are really, really good. These are the ChatGPT connectors, and this is the MCPs. Now, for those who remember model context protocols, it basically means, hey, I just want to connect to stuff. I don't care about the APIs, the fancy connectors, all you programmers, guys. I just want to connect to my stuff. I want to connect to my email. I want to connect to my local hard drive. I want to connect to my calendar, and I want AI to go and talk to them and do stuff. That's the promise of MCPs for the consumers. For enterprise, it's the reverse promise. Hey, I don't care what my people use. They want to use ChatGPT, Claude. They want 25 agents, 30 agents. Who cares? I want one thing that controls all of them, their access, what they can or cannot do. So for consumers, you get a single link, you type in the server name, you type in what you want, and the system can do it. And for enterprise, it's the reverse. It's the one choke point that allows you to manage all comers of LLMs. Please try the MCPs. Full credit to Anthropic for launching these last years. It is now the #1 standard in the entire AI space. Many of you use it already. If you haven't, start using them. Each and every one of you is going to have an MCP server in your company. And each and every one of you are going to use these MCPs to start connecting AI to all sorts of different things. Remember, though, with great MCP comes great possibilities of doing terrible things to your data. So make sure that you are well aware of the permissions you're giving and start with read only before you start writing. You could delete a whole bunch of things by accident. So please be careful. This just dropped, I think 24 hours or less. And 2 drops. One is, of course, the Anthropic desktops. And this is being able to very quickly use local files. I know it's a little bit developer-y, so something that can be done with there. Put that file on and so using MCPs and the new .dxts to fully interact with everything on your system, absolutely fantastic. This, I thought, was something that we've been all asking for, and Anthropic has done it. I see every major AI guy copy it very soon. These are the artifacts. And essentially what you're doing here is you're creating an app, and you can share the apps. So earlier we were sharing about GPTs, but when you share the apps, people who use the apps in Anthropic, they use their keys, not yours, to run the app. And I think that's fantastic because for many people, this essentially allows you to deploy a whole bunch of apps and not have to worry about really paying for the key use. Just dropped in. We'll see how much traction it gets. Definitely just the way you share custom GPTs, sharing custom apps between team members, between friends, between companies is going to become a big thing. Of course, having the password protected compliance and all remains, but I think this is where this is going. More and more vibe coding inside for each and every one of us, creating these small apps. It's just a small thing, but then being able to quickly share it with all of our friends and everybody else who is in our ecosystem. Obviously, being stuck in ChatGPT or stuck in Anthropic and everybody now needing 7, 8 subscriptions, not ideal, but hopefully these things slowly will sort of convalesce on some sort of open standard. So still waiting for that. Let's see what happens. Higgsfield Canvas was a great one. This is, of course, something that a lot of ad agencies and all have been waiting for. Video is slowly getting there this year. And this is essentially being able to take any picture, adding a product, and then having it sort of think through this. Midjourney does this as well from photos in terms of predicting motion, which is nice. But being able to put in product placements and then having physics accurate thing is pretty amazing. So a lot of great examples of this. And for those of you who are starting to experiment with video and really seeing how you want to bring it into your workflow, 5 seconds, 8 seconds, 10 seconds screenshots, pretty amazing what you can do. Of course, the big drop, and we covered the MiniMax week, was Helia 2. And the number one issue that everybody tries whenever a new video model comes out is human gymnastics. And you've seen the funny videos of those happening. And of course, here we see Helia 2 compared to Vjal 3, right? And obviously completely nails this, that, etc. there, versus Halio, which is getting absolutely perfect human thing. And you're seeing a lot of these videos, the cat Olympics and all of that happening, which are really, really amazing. But this is a huge milestone for video, being able to have human accurate and autonomy kick in. OCR continues. This is a big one. NanoNets has been released. Mistral OCR still continues as one of the top ones. This is open source. One of the big issues, remember, never use PDFs, always copy and paste. And if you're interested in deep diving, please go check out our best practices course on this, on how to actually get very accurate results from AI. But one of the big part is converting existing documents in all sorts of shapes and forms into something that is text, into something that is readable, or even using something like LaTeX to accurately represent mathematical formulas. Apart from NanoNets, there's a whole slew of new OCR drops. So please check these out. And what's really fun is that this is a really small model. This is 3.75 billion parameters. In comparison, a GPT-4 class model is considered about 70 billion. And so this can run locally on your machines if you'd like. And I think that's absolutely brilliant. By the end of this year, we should see between gamma n, between the quantizations, between these smaller OCR models, our ability to slowly assemble fully localized on-site models, particularly for highly secure works. We're just coming up on the halfway marker. I did want to, of course, also share a couple of interesting Vjal updates. First, my deep congratulations, of course, to our wonderful trainers who graduated from our new cohort in Miami a few days ago. This is fantastic. If we are on a mission to help 1 million people, organizations, communities, governments completely change their lives, change their world using AI. We need all the help we can get. If you'd like to become a certified trainer, become a certified coach, please join us. I'll put the link in. We absolutely love all of our trainers and all, and so you get the highest access of everything we do at Vjal. It's a great community, which we're making even better and better as we go along. As well, if you have time to join me in New York, please join me in New York. We have one more cohort there. We have a couple of spots left, I think. And I always love seeing all of you in person. I do all the in-persons myself, and it's just great to sit down and go through this one by one, figure out everything that is going on in the world of AI until you become super confident. But either which way, please sign up, please join us. This is something we will be very grateful for, to have you with us on our crazy AI journey so far. If you'd like to become a member of the Institute, I want to put that in there. And I will also put in a code that should give you 10% off for the duration of this webinar if you want to sign up. And again, we have our awesome number of different membership styles. But again, founder and teams gives you access to everything else. And of course, one last thing, many of you said, Adi, how do we get this? Every time we look at the webinar, we have to sign up each time. Why can't we just sign up for all the webinars forward? So we put this out there. Please sign up if you put this down through and fill this link out. Our team will chase you down for the next webinar, double or triple the number of reminders. Hopefully, you'll get signed up automatically for everyone. We'll send out calendar invites, all of that to make sure that you can attend. So please sign up here, you and your team members. This will sign you up to all future webinars and enables us to chase you a little bit more than we normally do. Let's get back to the update. Gemini 2.5 has a big update with high natural voices, style controls, tool integrations. I love these voices. They are fantastic for those of you doing text to voice. Of course, there's the classic 11 Labs, MiniMax, Sesame, if you can get it to work locally, is beautiful. But I think the new Gemini 2.5 Studio launches are pretty amazing. So if this is something you're working on, please have a look. And again, multilingual support, audio video understanding, the context understanding of the 2.5 series models are incredible. And you're seeing Google push these out everywhere, including the vision, robotics, everything else. And so this is one I would really recommend that you check out. Of course, HeyGen,
So we made improvements to our new Avatar 4 model. We showed our users how to add the gesture control, integrate body and hand movements, and now our avatars have enhanced micro expression. We reached out to our network of creators and we gave them firsthand access to our HeyGen Avatar 4 model. This is what they had to say after the new update.
It went from, hey, I'm an AI, to, hey, I have feelings too.
It's so lifelike, I almost apologize to it for interrupting.
It gestured more in 10 seconds than I do in a whole Zoom call.
The hand gestures, game changer. Finally, it speaks with the whole body.
It actually feels alive, like I'm watching a real person.
good update. Please check it out. We use HeyGen, we use Synesthesia a lot. Many of you have seen me with my avatar in this jacket. And that works really well. And so I'm really glad to see this technology get better and better and better. Of course, there's a lot of drama this month. The 2-3 pieces I thought was very funny. One, of course, is, Yanli Cohn, who's the head of Meta's AI division, going after a bit out of Anthropic, and, obviously calling him out for, talking about how AGI ends the world, but then working on AGI as well. So we're seeing more and more of, as the friction between these companies starts to take head, that very gentlemanly, polite language, academic and non-academic are doing, is now sort of bleeding over. And the funny one with Zen Lee sort of saying that, hey, Sundar gave a beautiful talk about how he's now vibe coding and looking at Replit, and then the builder of Replit saying, hey, I'm so glad you're using it. I couldn't get you to do it when I'm at Google. So we're seeing these little bit funny interactions come up. Of course, on the darker side, we had this is Windsurf, which is one of the top vibe coding platforms, recently acquired by OpenAI. The moment OpenAI acquired them, Anthropic cut their access to the APIs. This is one of the reasons, of course, we still recommend very much at the Institute that you have a plan B. Don't put all your eggs in one large language model basket, or any model basket for that matter. Run parallel tests. We have a good framework to think about how to do that. But fundamentally, you want always one proprietary, maybe one open source model running side by side. It is more expensive. It does create more issues, but you'll be very glad when, one day, if due to a strategic reason or a geopolitical reason, you lose access to your main model. And so having that second source or second backup plan, and maybe giving it 20-30% of your tokens consistently, I think is a very valid point there. Prompts continue to be funny. This I thought was a really funny cursor rule. Write the code. If you're the guy who ends up maintaining your code, will be a violent psychopath who knows where you live, right? And I think this is the year where we'll see a lot of these little minor techniques be sort of the last major year, particularly with the new reasoning models. And we're seeing the new mixture of experts, more and more this sort of ultra-humanistic code, which can be funny and maybe depressing at times, will slowly go away. Yes, you can still bribe AI by saying, I'll pay you $1,000 extra if you get it right the first time. Lots of interesting stuff around imaging. Flux, which has been a fantastic model that really helps push the open source and, of course, the custom training model ahead. And being really able to even do a simple thing like tilting, like getting the image to tilt, is absolutely fantastic. So character consistency, text, all of this is there. Understanding context, very brilliant. And what's really nice about Flux, of course, is you can train it on your own products. And so you're having a lot of these push out. So if you've been using the old Flux for this, it's also the go-to model when most AI companies don't have their own imaging model. So when this gets updated, you see a massive boost all across the ecosystem. So please have a look. And if you're using Flux, now would be a good time to upgrade, and you can enjoy some of the great leaps that they've made. A quick, thought about Google Spark. I thought this was still there.
Welcome
If
to
you
a
haven't
San
signed
Francisco
up, do
jeweler,
sign up
the
for
stunning
it.
House of Fine Arts.
It's sort of, I think, a preview of how video can go.
Believe it or not, this grand
And
structure
it's a
started as a
single prompt
temporary marvel
creating
for a
these short
huge
video
party.
stories, which
It
are
was built
fully
for
sort
the
of
19
prompted in and
Palace.
bringing it out.
Favorite spot.
And it's almost about a minute and a half of stories. Still under preview, still something that you have to think about, but unbelievable to see single prompt full stories come out. And this is where we see video maybe about at the end of the year, maybe, I don't know, 5-10 minute full video episodes being able to just come out from an idea or a concept, and the AI being able to fully do it natively, which I think changes a lot of the game when it comes to shorts. And many of you who do use YouTube Shorts or something like this, you're going to see a lot of this content come up. And of course, TikTok and Instagram will be flooded. We can debate on whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that is the new normal now. This I thought was beautiful. And this is the ability to create a full, from a single image, go to a full 3D space and being able to each artifact figure out. This is, again, 4DV AI, again, from China, and it shows a massive leap that's happened in Gaussian. For those of you who remember, Luma Labs and others, even NVIDIA, had great models for this, fantastic for interior design, architecture, video space, shooting, film, all of that, a big leap. And please try it out. And especially for those of you who are really interested in doing video walkthroughs or spatial understanding, just taking a bunch of photos and having 3D areas created is a wonderful leap. And I think this really allows us to do a lot more with AI as we start looking at AI and interacting with physical spaces. You can imagine this also has a deep implication in something like robotics, where with smaller, cheaper cameras, you can create a sense of depth and of what needs to be done. This was the craziest thing that came out. It definitely wins the award for no one asked for this, and now that it's here, we are all amazed and shocked. And this is, let me try to explain this to you. So essentially what these guys did, this is open source licensed MIT, they basically took a whole bunch of data, encoded them into QR code chunks, and put the QR code into highly compressed video files, literally using video files as a text and memory database. Unbelievable. Again, no one asked for it, but it's really proven something interesting. So you have now sub-second retrieval times, amazing local storage, and because it's QR codes and QR codes are self-correcting, great accuracy. And so I don't know if any one of you wants to use it and tell me how you feel about this, but the fact that you can get now local massive storage without a traditional database and just using a video file with an index retrieval is pretty amazing. And so hopefully we'll see a lot of these completely out of the box thinking. And this is, of course, I don't know if it can scale or work to that extent, but at least for desktop users, this presents a very viable option of having large scale data systems on site, on premise, and not having to go into the cloud. But let's see how much it can actually scale and how many people figure out the use cases on it. Higgsfield, of course, did this.
Good morning. And to the top story about this new thing.
If you want to achieve success, you need the one specific thing.
And today we're going to make that thing from scratch.
Apply that thing to your face, and you'll feel how that thing works.
Now I want this thing first.
That thing scares me.
I can't believe they did that thing.
I've never seen a thing like this one.
I know how to do the right thing.
Again, beautiful drop. And again, every time we see a new massive leap in video, we have a bunch of other model companies that sort of jump in and take space. VO3 had shocked us all last month by doing this, but now, of course, Higgsfield Speak Drop, the Canvas system and all are really pushing the same tech forward. Please try it. It works really well. I like this little thing from their sort of version of what you can do with using AI combined with the data analytics. And they're sort of walking through comparisons with something like a Bloomberg terminal or a Thomson's router system. This is, of course, in sort of the lab form, but have a look. I think more and more this interplay between data and large language models and systems is becoming very popular. For those of you who've taken our deep analytics new course, which goes into a lot of how to use this for amazing analytics, even if you know nothing about analytics, is still demonstrates the extraordinary power of doing something that maybe a year or two you would have to pay $500,000 million to a data scientist or a data science company to do. You can now just do using many of the large language models combined with things like Code Interpreter and Python. And this sort of just takes that to the logical next level by putting it into a wonderful user interface on its own. So have a look. I think it's a great demo for where this is going, particularly on dashboards and data. And I think many of you will find it's pretty amazing in bringing in a lot of the sources that you normally use, particularly in finance. I just thought this was a nice one, and I won't play the full video for you, but so Ether Zero, a scientific reasoning model, particularly around looking at chemistry and systems. And again, this is giving a lot of heart. I think one of the big promises of AI was that, hey, we will get answers to the secrets of the universe. We will figure out how to create Nobel Prize winning scientific advancements. Now, we've had massive productivity leaps. We have a lot of shocking discoveries coming from things like, Google Scientist, and we're seeing at least in the semi-public domain, a huge leaps that are happening, but none of those groundbreaking Nobel Prize fundamental rethinks of the world type things. And we're finally seeing models. This is what the year of what I call the banana bread. Everybody made chocolate cake, which all look the same, but now we go to banana bread, which allows different models to really, really do different things and really give us a highly differential output due to thinking. Now, there are going to be many of these. The big one, which we were waiting for, Grok 3.5 didn't end up coming out in time. We're still waiting for it, relooking at the entire world through physics fundamentals. But this is what I think I'm hoping this year and next year really is about. These fundamental new models that really push the limits of what we understand about science and scientific thinking. For those of you who are wondering, hey, why don't the existing models do it? Yes, they can do it and you can prompt them to do it, but you have to understand also the large language models predominantly have been trying to be humanistic, personalized to humans, appeal to humans. And almost the major scientific models, which are pure science, can feel very alien. And I think that is going to be the pushback that we're going to see is, at the interplay of the humanistic models, the pure scientific models, and then something in between, and you add the AGI and the AI scare on that. A lot of people have a lot of interesting things to talk about when it comes to the philosophy of how the human race will thrive or come to an end, depending how we figure the interplay between the science models and the humanistic models. Of course, new Aria 2 Meta glasses out. I'm seeing a lot more people wearing these around. I've been tempted to get one myself, and which you've also seen huge demos by Google on their Google Lens, and there are other projects around that. But very interesting, absolute good advancements. Highly recommend you look at it, and let me know if you buy one. Would really want to see if you had a good experience. Factory AI, this is another interesting AI system, which they are trying to put droids. And these are little agents and bots that connect to each other and use droids to build things. I think it's a very reasonable, different view of the world when it comes to vibe coding. So if you want to try it out, please do. Again, let me know how it goes compared to this. We are going to probably do another major vibe coding update either next month or the month after that. Enough has happened for us to relook at some of the tools and how they work. But I think this multi-agentic approach to vibe coding has legs. And it solves for a lot of issues that, for those of you who've been trying vibe coding, you would have faced. And let's see if they're the ones to do it, or we'll see updates from the majors coming out in the next 1 or 2 weeks. And we'll cover those next week, at least, if not full deep dive into the subject. This I thought was a very good one for many of you ultra paranoid people and those who are working on sovereign AI, and for the 10% of you who work for the CIA and other secret services who always show up to my webinars. Always nice to have you guys. One of the biggest issues that was being faced is that no matter how much security we put on the models, we can encrypt data at rest, we can encrypt data in run, we can encrypt data in transit, we can encrypt data everywhere. But at some point, the data has to be revealed when it hits the GPU, CPU, RAM on the physical server. And so even if you have it fully on site or off site or on cloud, this was the fundamental security flaw. Minions, which is a great project by Stanford, solves for this, working very closely with Olama. For those of you who need ultra paranoid, ultra secretive AI, please check it out. It is a great solution, very little latency added. And I think this is one deep step in many of you who are trying to use ultra confidential data. Again, I always say, have the same paranoia in AI as you have for email. Wherever your email server is, that's where your AI. If your email server is hosted in the cloud, that's where you're hosting your AI server. If your email server is hosted in a basement, ultra secret, Mission Impossible style, that's where you want your AI. And this enables both, and it's a good balance between the two. Thank you. I think that's it for the major updates. Lovely to have Q&A. If you could please, push your questions to the Q&A tab. Happy to do some live examples. Happy to deep dive into issues that you're facing, either on the updates, and we'll try to get that done in 15, 20 minutes. If you'd like to follow me on LinkedIn, that's our LinkedIn. If you'd like to follow us on WhatsApp and just get updates, we post maybe one update a week. Twice a week, just on when's the next webinar, any new launches, nice information. Please join that WhatsApp channel if you haven't already. And let's deep dive into the Q&A. And we already have some very cool ones there. Great question, Michael. How is Firecrawl different from Perplexity? Michael, so two things. One, of course, Firecrawl is open source. It's free, and it is very much inspired by Perplexity as well. So particularly the search and the deep search parts are, I think, inspired by Perplexity, inspired by deep searches by Google. Their scraping, however, is completely different, and that's very new. And I think that is something that you can also try out. But the big thing is connecting to your own content. And I think that is something that is very much needed. Patrick and Anonymous, I apologize for the music. I did not realize. I will make sure of that next time. And there, Harry, see you in New York. I'm excited as well. Jonathan, signed for the New York trainer course. You'll probably get an email tomorrow morning or on Monday morning. The first set have gone out. We should have the second set go out there. If you're not joining us yet, please join us in New York. It's going to be super fun. We had an amazing time in Miami, super deep dives, and I'm hoping we can trump that in New York. Atlanta in the Metrija, Vasio, drop me an email, drop me a WhatsApp. You have all my contact information if you're a trainer. Let's get you connected to the greater ecosystem. Anonymous attendee, I interest become trainer, don't know what my career would look like. Do we get courses main page or completely to me self-services? Can be a side gig from my content job. We have trainers who come from all backgrounds. Some of them are CEOs of major companies. Some of them are doing this as side gigs. Some of them are under 18 and are actually school students. And each figure out a different audience that they want to train for. You can do free trainings for schools and colleges and communities. You can become a certified trainer for your own company and just do internal trainings. Or you can turn it into a full-time career. We have trainers now who are earning anything between $50,000 to $100,000 a year just on trainings, mostly as a side gigs. We do have a few trainers who've gone full-time on this, and they're loving it. As a career path, apart from doing more trainings, we can go into coaching and consulting. We have those two new interesting paths that are coming up. And of course, we highly encourage you to do it as a side gig if you'd like, to really dip your water and see if this is for you. Many trainers find that they absolutely love this and this is what they want to do, and they do 4 or 5 a month, or they go full time. Other trainers say, okay, I like this, but it's not the love of my life. Happy to try it out for a bit. They find it's not for them. We are very happy to support your journey either which way. 11i seems to be on laptop, on the phone. I'm actually not sure. I think 11 Labs is just right now toying this out and trying to get feedback, etc. on this. We know Apple is hunting for taking over companies. A lot of rumors right now about them buying Perplexity. I think they're probably in talks with every major AI company right now. They definitely need at least a great team who can execute on some of these consumer features, even though theoretically it shouldn't be that hard to do. And we've seen a lot of criticism that, oh, Perplexity is just a wrapper. Why can't, you can vibe code this in 5 hours. Why do you need it? But at the other hand, distribution and being able to execute speaks for itself. So I think part of what they're trying to do is that instead of just launching a consumer version, is also a big B2B play, and we'll see. And by the way, that's what 11 Labs does. It's a big B2B play. So I think at the moment it is very much a technology demonstrator to show what can and you could do with their technology. But I think somebody will license it or they'll come out with their own app eventually. Where is the analytics course, Harry? It's in the new AI advanced course in Learn. If you don't have access for it immediately, you're going to see it come up next week. We are trying to take all our CEO and CEO courses, because it's become really, really big, multiple courses, and combine them into a single course for ease of access, and fully upgrading all the content. I was hoping to announce that in this update. We are a little bit delayed. We still want a little bit work on a couple of bits there, but you're going to see that roll out next week. Pierre quote about exponential AI corporate Trump pace of this exponential curve. Pierre, I want to do like a full 2-hour deep dive into it. We have a lot of data. So one of the big things that we've been doing the past year and a half is really, going into companies, particularly with our new coaching program, and seeing over 10 weeks, 90 days, how we can get companies from 0 to 80 on AI. And I'll just sort of freewheel a couple of the things that we find. One certainly is just, focusing on everyone. I think companies are still, the way I put it is trying to dabble in AI, proof of concept, POC, POC, POC. And I don't like POCs for a simple reason is you pick some very glamorous things, everybody celebrates, and that's it. And you just get stuck in POC land. Real AI transformation is being able to do this for your entire company all across. And I think that's one thing. You have to give everyone access. You have to get everyone coached. You have to get everyone trained. That's when it moves. We didn't get time to deep dive into the exponential curve, but part of the problem of going on the exponential curve is everybody has to go with you. You can't just have 1 or 2 people go up that curve and then everybody's behind. They get fully disconnected from the organization. So one is this notion that, we can just outsource this to IT will do it, or, let's hire a chief AI officer and they'll somehow do this, versus looking at whole organization transformation. Exponential organization means exponential transformation. And second, not getting everybody trained and coached and pushed into AI and just hoping, hey, we just do, the IT guys or a couple of management people or a few people here and there and expect somehow the full organization to transform. It's not there. But I understand the pain, the reluctance, the worry, but they just have to get over that hump and curve. And that's when you're going to see these massive transformations happening. And we are seeing it live. Companies going from 0 to 80 in AI because they got everybody to go along with them. It's hard, to be fair. It won't happen overnight, but I think the kind of results you get, the commitment is absolutely worth it. What is the thinking behind the pricing strategy? Yeah, so let's look at a couple of things, right? So first, right? So the one big thing which we look at pricing strategy is we're seeing pricing go down on the chips. And I'm not talking about NVIDIA chips, I'm talking about the inference chips. Companies like Grok with a Q, Etched, Cerebrus. And what these guys are doing are coming up with custom inference chip. By the way, Google has one with a TensorFlow. Apple has one as well. And so the cost of running these models goes lower and lower and lower. And that's an industry-wide phenomenon. It's just going to accelerate over the next 2 to 3 years as chip capacities go up. So think about that, right? So the running of these models go down. The cost of building these models, $100 million 2 years ago per run to now 1 million to $500,000. So making and running cost goes down. So they become commoditized. Like tokens become almost free eventually. And so, and you add that with the fact that all these companies are competing for distribution and market share and voice share. Those two combined give you a very interesting scenario where the supply cost is going down, the number of competitors are going up, and you're kind of stuck there in between. And so OpenAI fired the first salvo. putting a ceiling is $20. Now they're trying to go up to 200, and everybody's kind of follow up and down. But you're going to see a lot of different players come in with a pricing strategy that has nothing to do with the reality of how much it costs them or what the model is to be worth. It's really following their own agenda. So if you take our investing in AI class, one of the big things we really talk about there is thinking about what a company wants. So if you're someone like Facebook or Meta, you want people to stay on your platforms. You want them to spend time on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on Instagram. So you're giving AI for free. And if you've seen last month, the big updates in WhatsApp with Meta AI doing summarizations and them bringing out their new models is fantastic. We'll cover this in the next update, but lots of drama on people getting hired away from OpenAI into Meta and Meta going on a hiring spree. So the way I would look at it is two things. One, think about the supply and the competition levels, but think about what's the agenda of the company. What are they trying to sell you? Are they trying to sell you the AI, or is AI the means to sell you something else, and therefore the AI will be free? Certainly, I think Microsoft with Copilot is going to have to articulate a firmer vision. I think Google offering Gemini 2.5 Pro full with gems, with everything for free for its business starter program at $15, $20 a month. That is, I think, something that most organizations will have to contend with, particularly with Claude and ChatGPT still charging 2025. So have a look. It's going to be an interesting 6 months, 1 year ahead. What are the best tools for AI video generation? Sebastian, I hesitate, and I'll be very honest with you. I keep trying these tools. I keep seeing the wonderful, beautiful ads. I'm not happy with them yet. I mean, you can use VO3. Certainly, MiniMax in terms of pricing is fantastic. Sort of Higgsfield is fantastic, but you really need to know video. I mean, if you're not a film director, a screen artist, if you're not someone who really understands photography and videography, it's not going to feel very happy, and it's certainly not going to be cost effective if you're doing it. I'm an okay video director. I had a lot of fun in college and during my time at HBS, making videos and editing, and that was all fun. But nowhere I was, a cinematographer level, right? And so even someone who's done a lot of video editing, me coming in and doing it still feels clunky and still is very expensive. So I would try Higgs. I would try VO3. I would definitely try the new MiniMax models. But come in with a little bit of low expectations. You're not going to feel these things are going to give you what you need day one and for price one. And just put a fine line on that. When they work beautifully, right? So for certain things, they work absolutely beautifully, on prompt, on style, but not for everything. And so the other piece of advice I would be looking at is looking at what, examples other people have done in these videos, which have just worked. And this following the same format, the same cinematography, because those will work. But if it's a style that you need that is not standard, they're not there yet. Joseph, I know, thank you so much for attending. Love it. Geo Hype Fierce. Let's cover this next time. You and I have to sit and deep dive into this as well. And Joseph has been very good. He's one of our amazing top trainers. And Joseph has been very good at sort of pointing something which we've been all working on for the last 3 months, is particularly what happens when ChatGPT, when Perplexity, when Google search gets fully AI'd, right? How do we relook at SEO versus a LLM friendly website? And so there's a lot of key learnings there, and I think we'll probably do a deep dive into it. We do have a course on this slowly coming out, but I think part of it is the search stuff is just kicking off. So I am a little bit still waiting. I think the fear is for sure there. I don't know if the solutions are fully baked out yet. Kevin, are you going to send the recording? We are. We do tend to edit out, and some of the more frank answers and all go in the bin. So we are going to send this out as well, in case you need to go back and watch it really slowly and at 1x the speed, and with the voice changes and the music in the background, maybe that little close. So we'll try to get some of that in post editing and see what the AI does for us. What are AI tools for constructing McKinsey, you and everybody else, right? So I think a lot of different tools. The vision models are fantastic for understanding diagrams, for a huge amount for everything from audit, purchase order systems, site inspections using drones and all that's here now. It's super easy to do. And you combine it with something like YOLO 8 or YOLO 10, depending on your preference, you can get amazing inventory, site management, all of that out. I think turning blueprints into full renderings one shot is not there yet. There are a lot of tools, and I know there's ZooCAD and others which are coming out. And the problem is also, McKinsey, is the 2, 3 tools that I have used, which are amazing, all get bought by construction companies and architect firms, and they don't give it to the world. So they do exist, and they are being used. I've not seen anything that is being allowed to be in public, and the 2 or 3 companies who I loved just got bought out by large construction architect firms who are using them internally, and then probably charging people 100, 200K. And we see that a lot. We see some of the best tools go off market to major service providers, and that's smart of them to do. But hopefully, I think between the new vision models, between the new CAD diagram models, there was a big launch last year from Stanford on 3D Gaussian environments. We should see something that comes out in the public sphere for us to use. Any thoughts on having an update course that took it a year ago? Aaron, go check your Train the Trainer website. It is fully updated online. We have all new courses. It's a massive, massive update. In fact, you'll probably get an email, I'm hoping next week, to say, hey guys, refresh your training. We cover a whole bunch, and it's our whole new suite of learning you'll absolutely love. Mariam, do you do training for academic research in healthcare? We do healthcare for sure, and that's amazing. And we do some training in academic research. So I don't know, pretty much from 0 to 50 or 60 in healthcare. We do have a few pharmaceutical companies who we are helping for industry, healthcare research, because those are outcomes they need, which flow into things like chemistry, flow into things like new drug discovery and all of it. But we can get you to 0 to 50 or 60, 60 to 100. We know how, but we don't really have anything formalized. Patty Replit. Replit's good. If you want, check a couple of our updates on below on some of the vibe coding tools and sort of how to use it. There are a lot of them: Cursor, Windsurf, Replit, Claude Code, Codex, Google Juliet. So you have a whole bunch. At this point, it's becoming very much personal preference, and every 2 to 3 weeks there's an update. And again, like I said, either we'll do a major update in vibe coding next month or the month after that. Enough has happened that we can now sort of really deep dive and look through what works and what doesn't work. Lewis, for the review data analyst from Google Lab. Let me look that up. It might take a second, but just Google Lab data analyst and you should get it. Amrish, can you come all the way to San Francisco to teach me how to become a trainer? Love it, 100%. Tell you what, Amrish, drop us an email, get 10 of your friends together, and we'll do it. If you do 10, 15, 20 people training in any place, internal, external, happy to do it. I love doing the in-person ones. I love knowing every single trainer we have. You have the option of doing the online training as well. And I'll share the link again in the chat. And you just check out the online program if that works for you better. But there again, obviously I love the in-person one. It just allows me to hang out with you more, which is always lovely. Hugo created several agents on my ChatGPT Teams account. They're not currently connected. Hugo, just depends what you're trying to connect them. So if you notice at the end of every ChatGPT agent, there's something called actions, and the actions allow you to connect them from APIs to other things. Clunky, be warned. I have definitely fought with them, and we have an entire course now in our coaching modules on fighting with actions and praying for MCPs. I would just wait for the MCPs. Maybe 15 days, 20 days, and then you'll connect them by MCPs. So I would just wait for the MCPs at this point. They're pretty much going to take over this entire space. Ali, stuff went over your head. Yeah, I apologize, Ali. Some of the stuff is ultra technical to some people. I try to keep it at C-suite CEO level. Ask me something. Happy to repeat it next time. Say, hey, Addy, this I didn't understand. happy to deep dive. And of course, if you've taken our C-suite foundation courses, this would all be easy for you to understand, Sally. If not, please finish that, all of that. Amrish, for the consulting opportunities, Amrish, drop us an email. We're really trying to now be all things for everybody. We're still a social impact firm, so that keeps our mission aligned to try to make sure that we pick things that are highly impactful and transformative for organizations. Happy to sort of deep dive with anyone who wants to know more. Some of it, of course, you'll hear about more and more as we come out. At this point, we're a little bit starved for bandwidth. And so anything you guys want to do, sign up to be trainers, sign up to be coaches, really helps us out. Miriam, if you've hopefully taken the basic Vjal courses, especially the new ones, again, for those of you who are members who already have access to them, we are doing a full regrouping just to organize them better, because I do see having fundamentals, advanced, coaching, and all. Some of you got a little confused, so we try to bring them into one. But the healthcare one is in person. It's not online yet. And so either please look out for when we do an in-person version, or probably 3 to 6 months is when we'll sort of get this one online. Earlier, if we see a lot of people really wanting it and getting traction for it. Perfect. I think that's it, guys. Thank you for all the awesome questions. Please, you're always welcome to come hang out at one of our institute centers. The Dubai one is open to all of our trainers, all of our members, and to do deep dives. Please join WhatsApp. Please join some of our wonderful online communities as well. And I look forward to seeing you all for the next update. Thank you very much, and have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you may be.